Hello, everybody. Jason Russell here. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about an article called Serving Gifted Students in General Ed Classrooms by Dr. Brown. This is kind of something near and dear to me from when I was a child. So it was definitely my go-to choice for articles for this assignment because of my own classification when I was in elementary school. So this brought a lot of stuff up for me, and I found it very interesting. So I really want to share that with you. So one thing that it focused on here was that there's a need for a focus for differentiated learning, and that was kind of the main focus of the entire article. Was some do's and don'ts when it comes to students that are gifted, how to treat them in the classroom, how not to treat them in the classroom, things you can do for them, things not to do. So it started off with a couple, common factors when it comes to gifted students in the classroom. And these two were the main focus in that gifted students often will finish their assignments very fast, and then they can act out due to boredom from that. So, really, they found that the core issue within these student populations were the mismatch of their own needs with the pace and depth of instruction. So, really, the core of it again was that differentiated learning and how to differentiate instruction for those students. So the article started off in the negative side with some don'ts. So as I was going through this, it really, every single one of these, I was like, man, this is exactly what they did to me when I was in elementary school, back in the 90s. So using them as a teacher's assistants, a big no-no. And this article even referred to it as unethical. So that was kind of hit me hard and thinking of it as unethical. That was kind of a big one that stuck with me. Expecting good behavior, giving them more work. That one specifically, that was, I don't know, but it worked for me. When I was in elementary school, it was very social, very loud, and I would finish almost instantaneously. And then through my mom and the teacher working together, they came up with a solution, which was simply more worksheets in a giant file drawer in the back of the room. And there was I think the teacher made come up with like 120 different assignments for me. Um, I'd finish my work, and my job was to go back there, and I'd have to get an assignment, and then I could finish it, and then I could get another one, or I could go on reading. So back then, when this was a big issue around fourth grade for me, or third grade. Yeah, it was third grade. Third and fourth grade. The big issue was I love to read Goosebumps. So that was always my like huge go-to. I'd finish assignment and then I'd read. So that really worked for me, and giving the more work thing made sense. But this article said that it's not really going to benefit them because most of the time it is just more busy work unless you are giving them additional work that is attuned to their needs and their level. So the isolation for independent work was also a big negative within this article. Said that that really doesn't give them opportunities in the classroom, and then it actually takes away some things from their work, and then it gives them the opportunity to act out in their boredom as well, because that there more issues could arise from the isolation and the independence, especially from their peers. So I could definitely understand that one. And they said the biggest don't was to expect mastery of all subjects. So just because a student is gifted, as a gifted in mathematics, doesn't necessarily mean they're gifted in other areas. Now, it's common to be, but the expectation of that is absurd, according to this article, and really just frowned upon. And so, understanding that they may be amazing readers and writers, but they're just maybe not, maybe they're standard with the group on math. Any way you look at it can be interesting setup. So some of the things here that said do's, determine their gifted expertise. So finding out exactly what they're experts at. So if it is mathematics, if it is English, if it is science, if it is history, all of those kind of things, and figuring that out and making sure to utilize that within your differentiated instruction. So that would be really important. Ensure content rich tasks. So the bare minimum knowledge isn't really going to work for gifted students. They want to have a lot of content, have a lot of material within it, so they can fully grasp and understand things within their environment. The creating of the collaborative environments. Now, this one was really cool because one thing that stuck in my head the most from my gifted education, specifically back in third grade, was that we got pulled out. There was four of us that were pulled out always for reading ELA stuff. And one thing that we got tasked with was reading this play, and then we were asked to put that play on for all of our classmates as kind of an addition to our regular work within the classroom. So we were always pulled out for these extra, gifted education environments, which was very unique, I think, to my school that I was at, because when I did change schools, that was not something that they did a lot of. So it was different people back then. Of course, 90s were a little bit different. And then it mentioned learning about these learners. So taking the time to do the research and understand gifted thought processes and approaches within the classroom itself, and how to really, help those students and instead of utilizing them as a teaching assistant. So that was a big one. And then to implement research-based curriculum. So in allowing these students to dig deeper into materials and things like that. I can specifically remember, for physics, I was tasked with, picking my own specific, outlandish research project, and at that time, I looked for the craziest thing that I could do as an experiment for physics, and I came up with anti-bubbles, and my teacher had no idea what they were, and so I poured my heart and soul into this project, and I was taught the class and all those kind of things. So this one really is a big one, and I think it really does work for a lot of people, to really help them dig a little bit deeper. So here in conclusion, some of the focuses that it had as far as needs when it comes to gifted students, is that they really have to have teacher advocates and people that are willing to fight for them and look out for them. Now, in my particular district, we don't have anybody designated as a gifted student, nor do we have anybody that is in that area to help them. So it really takes us as educators to kind of, those kids that are excelling, that are kind of ahead of their peers, to, give them more of these opportunities. So that's something that I try to do in my own classroom, is to advocate for the kids that are a little more advanced. And they may not be gifted classification. A lot has changed. And personally, I've done a lot of extra research with this assignment, to classify, what is gifted these days, because it's definitely not the same. They need classroom differentiation. So differentiating your instruction for those that are gifted, those that are with special needs, and the regular classroom. It takes some effort on our part as educators to do this, but it really makes all the difference in the world for our students. And last but not least was to create outside opportunities for expansion and understanding of the world around them, to really integrate opportunities outside the classroom with what they're learning, and to help expand on those needs and things like that. So that one was really a neat part of it that it talked about, and I could definitely see that being a huge component. So some questions to ponder when it came to this article, maybe for some discussion here, is that in addition to meeting academic needs, why would it be crucial for us to advocate for gifted students and support their overall development? And then upon that too, what are some ways that we as teachers can provide opportunities outside of the classroom for these students? So, I know I have answers to both of these questions, but it may not be something you guys have really thought about. So I really encourage you to think about these things, respond with answers to these questions for me. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Being a former gifted student myself, I'd love to hear what you guys think we can do to help these students, and not just let them sit on the wayside because they already know it, or they're quick with their information and their work. How can we help these students grow, and how can we make them even better, and how to prepare them for the world? So love for you to answer those questions in the comments, and thank you all very much for listening to my article summary on gifted education within the general population. Thank you so much.